Okay. Good afternoon. My name's Mike. I'm the computer guy here at East Chicago Public Library, and today we're going to go over word processing week 2. So I hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving. Good. I did too. Didn't make a turkey this year. Made a rib roast instead. It was quite good. Hi, Lisa. How you doing? Good. Okay. So last week we started with the basics of word processing, got you used to what cloud computing is, how you can use Google Docs as a free alternative to Microsoft Word. We're going to be finishing up in Microsoft Word today. I have a preloaded document on all the computers, so which we're going to be primarily working on formatting of text and formatting of paragraphs today, and doing some more advanced things like inserting pictures and stuff like that into our document. But before we get started, a reminder that we do have a community help desk here twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday from 1 to 4 at the main library. We can help you with any question you have technology related. If it's something that you didn't understand in class, something we didn't cover in class that you hoped we did, you can come in for that. You can also bring in your own devices. We'll help you fix laptops, phones. You can bring in your own devices, but no drop-offs. You must stay at your computer at all times. Upcoming classes, we're almost done with this semester. So we have 2 more classes left. December 12th and December 19th is going to be Spreadsheets Part 1 and Spreadsheets Part 2. We're going to be using Microsoft Excel, but much like Google Docs, Google has a program called Google Sheets, which is like a free version of Excel that works on the internet through your Google account. So we'll take a look at that then. It's probably the most complicated class that I have. We get into math calculations and building logical data tables. It's actually fun. I have a lot of fun with it. And then we're going to break for the holiday. There's a reminder for Christmas and New Year's. The library is closed on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, which is a Wednesday and a Thursday this year. And it's also closed on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, which is also a Wednesday and a Thursday. So there will not be a help desk those last 2 Thursdays of the month because of the holidays. And all right. So let's get into it. So let's everybody open up your computers. If you need to wake it up, you might need to hit the space bar or move the mouse to wake it up. It will be asking you to log in with a username and password. The username is student with a capital S. The password is the same thing. Capital S, holding down the shift key, and then pressing the S for a capital S, and then student. Same as the username. And if you need help, raise your hand. Sam can give you a hand. Okay. Is everybody looking at the same document that I have up on the screen? Okay. Sam, when you're eyeballing these screens, can you do me a favor? Make sure everybody's sheet is about the same size, a little bit bigger like this. Okay, a little bit of a review from last week. So most applications on your computer and the applications online have little drop-down menus. Microsoft Office and Microsoft Word did away with those drop-down menus and replaced them with what they call a ribbon toolbar. So if you look up at the top of the screen here, all this up here at the top, this is what they call the ribbon toolbar. And they're categorized. So we are looking at the home toolbar. You don't have to do this with me, but I'm going to choose my insert toolbar. It changes these buttons for things you can insert into the document, like pictures or shapes or tables or drawings. We'll do that a little bit later today. There up here is also a toolbar called the View toolbar, where you can change how your workspace looks. Okay. Today, primarily, we're going to be looking at our home toolbar. Now, if you look up at the top, the toolbar is also divided up, if you can see, like little dividers, right? And they have little words at the bottom. So we have this part here is called our font. This is for font formatting or text formatting. And when I say text formatting, that is how the text looks. The font, whether it's bold, whether it's italics, how large it is, okay? What color the text is. That's what we're going to be doing primarily today, working with text and paragraph formatting. You'll notice that to the right, we have a little section called paragraph, and that's for paragraph formatting. And that is when you're trying to format indentions, line spacing, whether the text is centered on the page or left justified or right justified. That's what we mean by paragraph formatting. And then when we get a little bit more into this, we're going to insert a picture into this document. To keep us from having to type all this information in, we're starting with a document that's already typed up, but not formatted at all. So, hi. Good. How you doing? Is she got the document in front of her? Okay. So what we did is we have a pre-typed up document that we're starting with today, and we're just going to work on formatting of the document so we don't have to type it in. I recommend when you're sitting down to type a new document in Microsoft Word that I recommend not formatting as you go. I recommend typing in everything that you want to type in and then going back and selecting the text or selecting the paragraphs that you want to format after you're finished with the document. People get excited. They start typing a document and they want the title of their document to look fancy, so they'll right away start playing around with formatting right away. I understand the urge. But if you wait until you're done and then you go back and you format it at the end, it's going to give you a more consistent formatting. Because sometimes as you're typing a document, you might forget kind of what the formatting that you had at the beginning. So you might have a paragraph, you're writing a 10-page document for a class, you might have the first 2 pages single-spaced, line spacing. Then you might, on the later documents forget that you had it single spaced and format things like maybe a space and a half, a line and a half line spacing. It's not the end of the world, but it can be a little jarring to somebody reading the document if there's different formatting stuff. Hello. Yeah, come up here, it's fine. Sam, just move that computer over for Eugenia here. Good, how's it going? Good, you have a nice Thanksgiving?
Oh, really?
Good.
She's on my side.
Cool, awesome, thank you. So Eugenia, we're starting with a document that we already typed up, and we're going to work on formatting the document today. One thing I want to tell you about the toolbars up at the top that I don't think I mentioned last time. When we looked at Google Docs, I told you that in the drop-down menus, when you hit the File menu and it drops down a list of all the options, you click on the Edit menu and it drops down a list of all the options, that all your options can be found in the drop-down menus. Well, now that we're working with a ribbon toolbar, you'd think, well, I don't have drop-down menus anymore, but all my options should be up in the toolbar. It's not. There are additional options, and you can see those by, okay, so if you look at the paragraph section of our toolbar here, on the lower right-hand corner, right here, and if you float your mouse over that little, it's a little box with an arrow. You float your mouse over that, it'll say paragraph settings. Fine-tune the layout of the document, paragraph, including line spacing, indentation, and more. If you click on that little, it's a little box you can click on. If you click on it, it opens up a little dialog box with all of our paragraph formatting options. The most important options for formatting a paragraph or text are up in the toolbar, but that's not everything. Font is the same way. So if I come over here to font, there's a little box on the bottom right-hand corner of the font area of the toolbar. And if I click on that, it brings up fonts. What was that? Oh, Control Delete. Oh, okay, maybe. You float your mouse over it. Oh, Control D. Okay, so if you float your mouse over that, it says font, Control D. You remember what that Control D stands for? Know what that's for? It's a shortcut key, right? So most of these toolbar buttons have a corresponding shortcut key that'll do the same thing. And the reason we have those shortcut keys, they almost always have, start with holding down that control key. You should have two control keys on the right and left on the bottom, CTRL. And that's telling you that you can just hit this key instead of taking your mouse up there. The reason is when you're a typist, you were in a typing pool, right? They judge you on how fast you can type. Well, it's a lot faster to go Control D to open up a box than it is to lift your hands off of the mouse to get to the mouse to click up there and go down. So they. Oh, okay. So where she found that, so up here in the area where it says font formatting here, on the bottom right-hand corner, this little box, that's where you would click to open up all of the font settings. But to open that box with a keystroke, you can also hit Control D. So holding down the Control key and pressing the letter D opens up our little font box like this. It's the same as clicking on the box. It does the same thing. It's just one gives you a shortcut key so you don't have to lift up your hands, and the other one you have to click on a button. But they do the same thing. And there are some of these font options that are not in the toolbars, like all caps or small caps or hidden text, superscript and subscript. There's some other things in here that aren't in the toolbar. But let's talk about formatting of a document. To format text or a paragraph, to format anything, we need to tell the computer what we want to format first. Then we can go up to the toolbar and we can change our formatting options to make the text or the paragraph look the way we want it to look. We have to select it first. Now, last week I showed you many different ways to select text 2 weeks ago, because we were out last week. One was the most easiest common way is clicking and dragging, right? Click with your mouse and then hold the mouse button down and drag to select the text. I showed you how to double click on a word to select a word. So like if I double click on the word summer, click, click, see it selects the word summer. If I triple click on a word, it'll select the whole paragraph. So if I move down here, my mouse down here to the paragraph and click 3 times, click, 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 see it selects the entire paragraph. We need to select the text first and then choose our formatting options. Why? Well, we might want the text at the top of the document to be different than the text at the bottom. So we need to tell it what we want to format. It's a misconception. Some people open up Microsoft Word and they change all their formatting at first, right? And then start to type. That could get messy. That's why I recommend typing the document first and then going back and selecting what you want to change and how you want to change it. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to, this is a press release. This is an imaginary press release for a summer movie series here at the library, something we would like send out to the newspapers and stuff. So the title of this document is Library to Present Annual Summer Movies. So what I want to do is, since this is the title of the document, I want to change the formatting of the sentence to be a little bit more bold and a little bit more striking up the top. So what I want everybody to do is I want you to select the text for this very first line. Library to present annual summer movies. And I'll show you a couple of ways you can do this. You can click and drag. You can take your mouse, go to the very beginning of the word library, click, and while you're holding down the button, drag your mouse off to the right to select that sentence. Library to present annual summer movies. You could triple click. You could click 3 times anywhere in the sentence. You know, I hit the enter key after the sentence here, so it told the computer that that's the end of my paragraph. We'll go click, click, click.
Guess what I just did? I ended up, whatever I did, I ended up with the L in front of the library. It moved all the way over to present.
You clicked and dragged the letter. You selected the letter, and then you moved it. That can happen. If you're not too good with the mouse, remember, Control Z is an undo. If you do something and it's like, oh, I didn't mean to do that, hold down that Control key and hit Z, and it'll undo the last thing you did. And it'll give you the do-over.
Control Z.
Control Z is undo. Control Z also works outside of Microsoft Word. It works all over the computer. If you do anything in an email or in Excel or anything like that, and you're like, oh, I didn't mean to do that, Control Z. You can also hit Control Z more than once, and it'll undo and undo and undo and undo. And if you undo too many times, then there's a redo.
They started all out.
They're still thinking it out. Okay, so once we have this title, oh, Sam? Sam? Okay, so once we have this title selected, we can start playing around with how it looks. The first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to change the font. Okay, that's what kind of script we're using. And in our toolbar, in our home toolbar up here, we have a little drop-down box. It should say Arial right now, but you can click on this little drop-down arrow, and it'll drop down a list of all the fonts, and then we can choose. If you see a little cloud with a down arrow next to a font, that means it's not really downloaded. You can use it, but you're going to have to download it first. So we're going to just worry about the ones that don't have that little cloud. And if you notice, there are a lot. So if I go down here to like Berlin Sans, you can choose any font you want. When I click on Berlin Sans, see what it does? It changes the font. I'll make this a little bigger so you can see it. If you really want one with the cloud, just click on the cloud. It'll download it. If you really see one that you want to play with and it's got a cloud, just hit that click on the cloud. It should just download it. It's okay. The deal is that I don't think it's going to show you a preview if it's not downloaded.
Click on the Berlin.
Yeah, well, anyone you want, but I clicked on Berlin. But see, there's script, book Antiqua. Cooper Black. Cooper Black is pretty cool. I'm going to go with Cooper Black. Looks like that. Playing with fonts is fun. You got a lot of them in there, and you can really find some pretty interesting fonts.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see it. It goes down.
The font isn't the only thing I want to change. I also want to change the color of the text. So if you look up in the same area, the font part of our toolbar, there should be a letter A with a red line underneath it. So if you clicked on it right now, it would change it to that red that you see, like that. But there's a little drop down arrow next to the A with the red line. If you click on that, it'll bring up a bunch of different colors that you can change this text to. I'm going to change this color to a blue because that's the library's color. That's we are blue and gold here at the library. Also, sometimes it's kind of hard to see the effect of the change if the text is selected. So sometimes you want to deselect the text to see what it looks like. Clicking anywhere on the document with your mouse off of the text will deselect it. We'll just have to reselect it again to make more changes. But if you were to click off here and like in the blank spot of the document, it'll deselect it so you can see the color better. And if you do that, I just want you to reselect it before we start because we're going to make a couple more changes. I want to make it bigger. I want to change the size of the font. Now, last week I showed you, yeah. Okay, sure. Someone's getting caught up. That's fine. We'll tell you in a minute. We're going to wait for somebody to get caught up so they can go with us. Okay.
I'm trying to guess where would you go to make it good, and I can't stand that way.
It's right next to the font drop down box. It's got a little number up there.
Oh,
It's
I
that.
don't know what I did, but I have that. It should be.
I don't know what you did that.
Control Z, fix it. Undo.
I tried.
No, Control Z is not fixing it. It's, I think it's in,
After every word is.
oh, I
is done.
fixed it.
Oh,
It's the paragraph symbol. If you press the paragraph symbol, it shows where the spaces are. It shows where the paragraphs.
Oh, in the paragraph toolbar.
Yeah.
Oh, that's new. Okay, that's cool. We used to have to go into options to turn that on.
what's that? Say that again.
I'll show you that in a minute.
Oh, okay.
She made a mistake, but we rectify it, and it was a serendipitous mistake. It taught me something new. The version of Microsoft Word that we're using is called 365. It's a subscription version, which means that it updates itself and it keeps itself up to date all the time. Like in the old days, we'd buy a version of Microsoft Word, install it on our computer, and in 5 years, it was 5 years old. They had a 5-year newer version out. Well, this Office 365, when you subscribe, it charges you monthly or yearly, but it'll always keep you to the most recent version. You can buy either version. You can buy a version that doesn't update, you pay a one-time fee, or you can buy the subscription version, or you can pay nothing and use Google Docs. Google Docs is a web page, so it keeps itself up to date too. You'll notice little changes as you go. Okay, so are we ready to change the size of this title? All right, so up in the toolbar where we changed the font, immediately to the right of it, it should say 11.5. That's your font size. And if you click down this little drop-down arrow here, it gives you numbers. And if you just float your mouse over the number, it'll show you what it'll look like at that size. It's like 26 points, pretty big. All right. I'm going to make this 18, I think. You can make it a little bigger if you want.
The normal size for, I guess, letters, is it 18 or 16?
No, those are both pretty big. 16 and 18 font size is not typical. 11, I think, is the default. I think when you open up a Word document, I think it sticks you at 11. But as far as font size, yeah, I wonder what the font size on an average typewriter is. That's pretty big. That's pretty big. Because look at that, see, the title is 18. That's big. You're not going to type a whole document in 18. It's going to look huge. It's going to look like your large type documents. Nah, 9's pretty small. So I think 10, 11 is probably the right one. Let me see what a typewriter is. Yeah, what's the answer?
So print, it's 10 to 12. For web and mobile, it's 16 to 20.
For web and mobile, it's 16 to 20. Okay, cool. Well, we're working with a document that's kind of meant to be printed out, right? So between 10 and 12 is what they suggest. What is a typewriter? What's the average typewriter? Let me ask that. Hold on. What is the font size of the average typewriter? Yeah, they measure it different in typewriters. So that's really interesting. On the old-fashioned typewriters that we learned in school, they didn't use the same kind of number system. Like in our number system on the computer, the bigger the number, the larger the font. On a typewriter, the bigger the number, the smaller it is. Because what they're measuring on a typewriter is something they call CPI, or characters per inch, right? So more characters per inch is going to be a smaller text. Kind of weird. So they have the typewriters you buy. Remember you had that little ball? Or sometimes you had the arms. Sometimes you had a little ball. You could replace the ball. You could get two balls. You could get a 10 CPI or a 12 CPI, the old-fashioned typewriters. The 10 CPI is bigger than the 12. And the 10 is equivalent to the 12-point font on our computer. Okay. So anyway, so now we have a title that's a different font, a different color, and a different size. We're starting to format this. There's something wrong with this. It's not formatted like a title. Title case is where every letter is capitalized, right? We do have a way to change the case of text we already typed. And it's in our toolbar now. If you go up to the font toolbar, it looks like a uppercase A and a lowercase a. This is change case. So if I click on this, let's just take a look at some of these options here. So the very first one is sentence case. And that is where the first letter is capitalized and nothing else is. The next one is all lowercase. The next one is all uppercase. So if you type an entire document and then later on go, oh, I wish I would have typed that whole document in all uppercase letters, you can select all of it and you can go up here and say, make it all uppercase instead of having to retype it. Then you also have something called capitalize each word, which is close to what we want. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose capitalize each word. But you see the very bottom one says toggle case? You notice how the first letter is small and all the other letters are big? That's what happens when you accidentally have caps lock on and you're not paying attention, right? You think you're capitalizing the first letter and then you're typing the rest of them small and it's the opposite. Well, if you've ever sat down and looked at the keyboard while you typed and typed an entire paragraph backwards like that, well, in the old days, the only way to fix it was to delete it all and take the caps lock off and retype it. Now you can go up here and say, you know what? Toggle the case. So change everything that's uppercase to lower and everything that's lower to upper. And it'll switch it around like that. If I were to choose toggle case now, it would probably make the first letter small and everything else big. But what I want is I want to capitalize each word. You have to have the text selected. And then you clicked on capitalize each word and nothing happened?
Oh, you can capitalize the entire thing.
It was already capitalized. So I went into there and made a toggle, right? It's already selected, right?
If it's already capitalized, it's probably not going to see anything. It's not going to change anything. Well, it was already capitalized. Right. So this is better, but in a true title case, I don't think you would capitalize the word to. Right? I think they don't capitalize. I don't know the exact rule. Any English teachers in here? Yeah, I know they don't capitalize that either. And like, yeah, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been in school. So, okay, so that is, that's a fair amount of formatting that we did to the document. We changed the case, we changed the color, we changed the font, we changed the size. That's all great. There's one thing that I want to do to a title, and I want to center it on the page. But that's not font formatting, that's paragraph formatting, but it's in the same toolbar. So if you look up at the top, next to, under paragraph here, these little 3 lines here, this is centering it on the page. This is right justifying it, and this is left justifying it. So it's already left justified. I want to put it in the middle. I want to center it on the page to make it like a title. And then let's click off of it so we can see what our new title looks like. Library to present annual summer movie. Okay. So let's click anywhere in the second sentence where it says enjoy films from the National Film Registry. Click with your mouse anywhere in there to put your mouse cursor in there. Because I want to show you that the toolbar up top, not only is it important for when you want to change formatting, it'll also give you information about the formatting where your cursor currently is. So if your cursor is somewhere in the line that says enjoy films from the National Film Registry, if we look up at the top of our font toolbar, it'll tell us Arial for our font, and it'll tell us that our font size is 11.5. Yeah. And that's good information. But if we now click with our mouse anywhere in the title that we just formatted, and we look up top here, mine says Cooper Black. That's the font that I chose, and it's 18. And it's also centered. If you notice, the centered button looks like it's pushed in here. So that toolbar is not only important for changing things, but it can tell us information about the text wherever we have our cursor placed. Does that make sense? So I click anywhere in this first line, it tells me that it's Cooper Black 18. If I click anywhere in the second line down here, it tells me that the font is Arial and it's 11.5. Okay. So I'm going to show you a little handy tool that your toolbar has. It's called a format painter. Okay. It's a way to paint formatting from one text to a different text on the page. We're going to let him get caught up. The reason we have a font painter is because if you look at that very first line, library to present annual summer movies, it's blue, it's bigger, and it's a different font. But oftentimes, you're going to tweak and play with that a long time to get it just how you want it. And then you're going to go, you know what? I would really like that same formatting someplace else, but you're not going to remember everything that you did. You're not going to remember the size you picked or necessarily the color, or, there might be things you forget. So it gives you a way to take formatting from one spot of the document to apply it someplace else without you having to remember the size, the color, the font, and all that information. And when he gets caught up, I'll show you how to do that.
So, your enjoy film federation registry?
Yeah.
Based on mine is just not there.
How do I have it spaced off?
The index.
I mean, this sentence here.
Like to, okay, the next sentence starts where?
Oh, you mean the space between them?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and that's part of paragraph formatting, and I'll show you that later.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what we were trying to do. Like,
Where is yours?
mine's right above the Chicago Public Library, so there's no space in between enjoy film and National Film Registry.
She just needs to enter.
Oh, is that it?
No, you don't need the enter key. That's wrong. You need paragraph formatting is what we need to do. So, and we'll get to that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. We're going to do paragraph formatting in a little bit.
Okay.
You would think that if you wanted two spaces between the line and the paragraph below it, you'd hit the enter key twice to get you down twice. That's not really a good way to do it.
It's not, 'cause I just need it right.
That's how we intuitively go after it. But if you notice, watch when I select this text. Notice the selected text includes all this blank stuff underneath it. And if I try to click down there, I can't even click down there. It's because there's not an extra space down here. This is only one enter key at the end of this document. But we told it to make the space between the first paragraph and the second paragraph a little bit bigger. We'll show you that in a little bit.
So you showed me that in a paragraph. What means that-
You could see that in the paragraph formatting, yeah, but we're just still working the text.
So I hit the space key and it took it all up. But then I hit Control Z and it brought it back. I hit the undo button.
Does yours look like that?
Like that.
Okay, so I'm going to show you how to use a format painter. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the formatting that we have in this first sentence, the blue and the font and all that, and we're going to paint it to this second one. And the way we do that is you want to take your mouse pointer and click anywhere in the sentence that you want to grab the formatting from. So that very first, library presented, make sure that your cursor is in here blinking. And then up in your toolbar, just to the left of font, you're going to see a little paintbrush. If you float your mouse over this paintbrush, it says Format Painter. It'll actually give you instructions there. They call that a tooltip. If you don't know what a toolbar button does, you can float your mouse over it and it'll pop up a little box to tell you what the toolbar button does. They call it a tooltip, but sometimes the pictures aren't descriptive enough. So basically it says this is a format painter. It has shortcut keys. So you could use shortcut keys, Alt-Control-C and Alt-Control-V for copying and pasting. And it says to get started, select the content with the formatting you like, number 1. 2, click on the format painter. And 3, select something else to automatically apply the formatting. So what we're going to do is we're going to click this paintbrush once. And now when we move off of it, that paintbrush button looks like it's pushed in, right? See that? And if we move our mouse down over the words enjoy films, you'll notice that our mouse pointer's got a little paintbrush next to it.
Oh,
If we now select the text from the second line, click to drag to select this entire text. When we let go, it will paint the same formatting from the top to the second one down. I'll show you that again. I'm going to hit Control Z to undo it.
We go back to paintbrush.
Yeah, we're gonna wait for somebody to get caught up, and we'll do it again. I'll show you again.
When I click on it, it doesn't do it.
Oh. Sam will help you in a second.
This is the Your graph. That's what you do.
Graphics are they typically call graphics like drawings, not text. We can add graphics to this. We're going to add a picture to it later.
It does require this plan, and I've never done that.
Okay.
I like just when they are busy. How you, I didn't catch how to put all capital letters from the beginning of the word.
That's a toolbar button. Help Lisa, please. So watch. So if you select text, there is a change case button in your toolbar. So if you come up here where the font toolbar is, it looks like an uppercase A and a lowercase a right here. Can you see up there? It says change case. There's a drop down arrow there that'll allow you to change it to all uppercase.
Change case.
Change case.
A.
Capitalize each word is what I chose. Yeah. Oh, it's here. That's key. Yeah. And I chose capitalize each word. Oh.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Okay, so I'm going to show you this again. We're going to click our mouse anywhere in this first line because I want to paint the formatting from the first line to the second line. So you click in the first line, you come up here to your Format Painter paintbrush in your toolbar, click on the paintbrush, and then click and drag to select the text from line 2, and it will paint the formatting from line 1 to line 2. And this red underline is telling me the word registry is misspelled, but I don't think it is.
Okay, can you do that one more time on phone?
I'm going to Control Z to undo. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our mouse and we're going to click anywhere in this first title that has formatting we want to use someplace else. Now I'm going to move my mouse up to the toolbar and I'm going to click one time on this little paintbrush here. And it's going to allow me to paint the formatting from line 1 to wherever I click and drag. So I'm going to come down here, and you'll notice a little paintbrush next to your mouse pointer now. And if I click and drag across Enjoy Films from the National Film Registry and let go, it paints the formatting from the first line to the second line. So now, if you notice, the button for the Format Painter is off. So you click the Format Painter once, it allows you to paint that formatting one time, then it shuts it off. But you can double click on that Format Painter button to lock it on. I'm not going to show you that, but I'll explain to you why you might need to do that. So say you're working on a 10-page document, right? And at the top of every page, you want the formatting, you want to paint the formatting to the title of every page. Well, you can change the formatting on the first page and then choose the text formatter by double clicking on it. And then you can go to page 2, paint it, go to page 3, paint it, go to page 4, paint it. It'll stick. So you can paint that formatting over and over and over again. And then you're going to have to go up and click on that Format Painter to shut it off when you're done, or because that's the only thing that the mouse will do at that point. I'll show you what that looks like real quick. You don't have to do it with me. I'm going to change the view so I can see more of the page I'm working on.
So one thing I want to point out,
Yeah.
if you're trying to format paint to an area that is already matches the same format, it'll try to copy the font size and the color size. Because it already matches. It was happening with Lisa's where it either wouldn't take it, or if you're inside of like a word, it'll be like, oh, yeah, we'll just change the word to how it exactly looks on the previous one, the one you're painting from. And you'll change the font to the color. So only the matches, because it's taking a different, I don't know why it's doing that. But if you have something that's matching, it's just gonna take the,
Okay, so see, these are two matching things. All right, so I go here and I click and drag, and I want to paint this formatting to the one below it. So I come up here to the format painter and I click it, and then I go to paint it to this bottom one. Then what do you say it's going to do? Shouldn't do anything.
well, it's not gonna do anything, but
Well, it's not, because you can't paint formatting to the same formatting.
so
I'm not,
Lisa's,
I'm not in the.
Lisa's first line
Exactly.
was exactly like that. Her second line was centered, but it didn't have any color into it. So what it did is it copied the color and it placed it in where you clicked to.
Right. So one word on.
And copied the font size and the color size to where you clicked in when you did the painting.
I'd have to see it, but follow along the right way. So we're all on the same page,
Mine on red.
and that's fine. It doesn't matter what color you use. But here, I'll show you really quick what that locked format painter looks like. So if I click in this first line here and say I wanted to like format paint every other line of these movies, well, what I can do is I can come up here, I can click this format painter twice, click to lock it in. Now I can do the first one. Oh, it didn't. Try it again. Click. I can do the first one. I can do the third one, and I can do the last one. And I can do it over and over again. And see, if the paintbrush is still there, I have to go up and shut it off. I'm going to undo this. I just wanted to show you what it looked like to lock that format painter in. Okay. Okay, so that's text formatting. Do we have any questions about formatting text? There are a couple of other buttons up there. And if you float your mouse over them, it'll tell you what it does. I don't go through everything. There's like superscript and subscript. Like superscript is when you have 10 squared. You have the little letter 2, right? Up at the top, that's what a superscript is. Subscript is when you have it smaller something, but below it, like H2O. You know how they have the big H and then a little 2 and then the O? That would be subscript. So you have the ability to do superscript and subscript. You have the ability to change the text into crossed out text. There's a toolbar button for that. So I can click on this and hit this little button here. It'll cross it out. I don't know why you'd use that. But if so, there's a highlighter pen here, so you can highlight. You can select text and highlight it as if you put a highlighter over it. And there's a lot of different things you can do with text to format the text, how it looks. And that is something you can experiment and play with on your own. There's a million of them, and you can do a lot of fancy stuff with it. But we're going to move on specifically to paragraph formatting. And what we're going to do is we're going to start playing with this first paragraph here. I'm going to change my view to make it about the same size as you, so we're all in the same place. Okay, so what I would like for us to do is I would like us to select the text from the second paragraph, because we're going to change the formatting of the second paragraph. There's 2 ways to do it. You can click and drag. Click from the bottom all the way to the bottom right to select the whole paragraph. You can also triple click anywhere in the paragraph. Click, click, click. And it'll select the entire paragraph. So I showed you in paragraph formatting how we can center things on the page. And we can left and right. There was one that I didn't show you, and it's called justify. So you'll have in your paragraph toolbar up top, you're going to have a left justify, a line left, a line center, looks like that. A line right looks like this. And then there's justify. And if we click on justify, what justify does is, see how this right corner, this right side of the paragraph here is perfectly straight? That justify paragraph is kind of like how newspapers look, right? You look at a newspaper, they have a thin little column, and the left hand and the right side are all perfectly in line. Well, in typing class, it was a math problem or something. We had to count the letters in the space, and we had to evenly divide it to type that way. Anyway, I remember it being pretty difficult. Nowadays, it's just a button. So if you want the right side of the paragraph to be perfectly square, and the left side of the paragraph to be perfectly square, that's when we call it justified. If I left justify it, see how national is a little bit off here, but the justify will make it nice and square. So we can keep that justify.
It has to be set at 1.5, I mean 2.0. In order to get it justified and.
I don't know.
Left side is justified, but my right side is.
Well, then you are left justified then. So see this align left button right here up on the screen? That will make the left side squared and the right side not squared. The far right one here is called justify.
That's where I'm at.
And if you click on that, it should justify the right side and the left side both.
But it didn't, what it's showing me is. I'm not. Line spacing options, that's what it's saying.
Oh, well, you're not in the right side.
I'm not.
You're changing the line space. That's, yeah, this is justify here. Yeah, no, that's right. Put your mouse over it. There you go. Well, also, you need to select your paragraph. Triple click on the paragraph, select it.
There you go.
No, or try, click and drag, that's fine. There you go, all the way down. There we go. All right, so now this one, if you flip your mouse over, it'll say justify. Stop moving them up. That's your line right. Move to the right a little bit more. A bit more. You're not on the button. There you go. Justify. That's what you want. Click on that one. So she was just choosing the wrong button. The button to the right of the justify is line spacing. That's where you can change the line spacing of the paragraph. But ow. I keep getting a static shock and it shuts off the screen. That time of year. Yeah, so to the right of that, if you float your mouse pointer over it, it says line and paragraph spacing. This little drop down list will allow you to change the line spacing and give you an idea what that looks like. Yeah.
I did what you did, said, and it evened out the.
Good.
But then the top went into two separate. Enjoy film from national film, but still, it wasn't like it was before. One, because it was to enjoy that switched over after.
Let's take a look.
I did that, but then this.
Oh, okay, let's hit undo.
Oh, see, okay, that's
Just a minute.
just that
Yeah.
one.
So justify it.
That's
There you go.
spacing.
Not quite sure. But,
Yeah,
yeah, maybe you had two things selected. I'm not sure. You're welcome. Okay. So what I want us to do is I'm going to open up this. Remember I told you at the beginning of class that all of the options aren't necessarily in those buttons, that you can open up that little box to give you all of our options. I'm going to show you around that a little bit. So up in this paragraph toolbar, I want you to click on this little box at the bottom right. If you float your mouse over, it'll say paragraph settings. And if you click on that, what it's going to do is it's going to open up this little paragraph settings box. This is where you would change your paragraph spacing. Okay. And it'll give you a preview little pane here at the bottom so you can see what it looks like. So it shows you like a little version. Before you hit OK and apply your changes, it's giving you a preview. So you can change the line spacing from multiple to double. And you'll see down here in the preview that it'll show you that this is what double spacing would look like. I'm going to change this back to 1.5 lines. That's a little bit better. And also, see where it says spacing before and after? This is the spacing before and after the paragraph. So if you notice, before the paragraph on the preview pane here, there's no space. But after the paragraph, there's a fairly big space. There's actually an 18-point space. If you change this 18 down to 0, you'll notice that in the preview that you're not getting any space between your paragraphs at all. This is what you would do instead of hitting enter twice. Because if you hit enter twice, it's telling the computer there's 2 paragraphs there when there's really not. There's only 1 paragraph. So hitting the enter key 1 time is saying, I want to start a new paragraph. If you want more space between the 2 paragraphs, that's formatting. That's paragraph formatting. You select the paragraph and you say, I want a little bit more space before my paragraphs or a little bit more space after.
That's where I was at, and showing me how much space I'm using. That's when I was talking about the 2.0 and 1.5. That's what it was showing me, the spacing between the paragraphs.
Okay, yeah. And you probably chose 0, and that's why it was right up against it.
No, I chose the 18.
Okay.
And it kind of just made it.
We also have indentation here. This is how we can indent our paragraphs. If we had multiple paragraphs on the page, we could select multiple paragraphs. We could select all 3 paragraphs and do the same thing. But where it says special, we have first line indent and hanging indent. Now you'll recognize these from typing class. I'm going to first choose first line paragraph. And then I'm going to hit OK. It indents my paragraph for first line paragraph. See, we have an indentation here.
Yeah.
Is your paragraph selected?
So you must always select first.
That is right. So anytime you're formatting anything, you're formatting font or a paragraph, you have to select the text first. You're telling it what you want to format. Some people, when they first start using Word, they think, well, if I just open up a blank document and change my formatting now, it'll keep it for the whole document, but that's not necessarily true.
Make sure you select before you do it.
Right. And I recommend that people type the whole document first and then go back and make your formatting changes, because it's going to make for a more consistent document at the end, right? If you format as you go, because you're kind of as you go, you're playing around with stuff. The formatting could be different at the beginning than it is at the end, and that can be distracting and make for kind of a messy looking document. I was going out with a professor for a while, and she would bring home legal documents that she had to grade, and she would get always upset with that. She's like, God, the first and the third page is all the line spacing's different on the first page than the third page. It's jarring, you know. And she was an attorney, so it was like those legal documents when you're submitting to the court, they got to be exact. They have a lot of, you know, so she would mark points off for that kind of stuff. But if you type everything first and then go back, you can even, there's a shortcut key for select all. To select everything, if you decide that you want all of the font on your entire document to be a particular font, you can just hit Control A and it'll select those. So watch up here, I hit Control A, selects everything. Control A is the shortcut key for select all. And it will select all of the text on the document. And there are times that you're going to want to do that, right? Line spacing might be one of them, right? Changing the font type. You can select all and say, I want the entire document to be Arial font. And it'll do that for you. And remember, to deselect, clicking anywhere will deselect what you have selected. But this is what we call a first line indent. And this is an indentation. You notice when I selected the paragraph, it didn't select anything here. There's really nothing here, right? When I go to select it, it looks like this. The wrong way to do this is put a bunch of spaces there. And that's what people do a lot. They want to indent, so they just hit a bunch of spaces like that. That can be messy because you're going to have to count how many spaces they are, and you're going to have to do that at the beginning of every paragraph. It's going to be a lot easier to type 5 paragraphs, select them all, and say indent by ½ inch. And then it'll ½ inch indent every single paragraph super evenly and give you a nice tidy looking document. We're using Microsoft Word. Does anybody remember the program called WordPerfect?
Yeah.
WordPerfect was very popular with attorneys and law firms because this document has a bunch of invisible marks in there, like a paragraph break. Remember I said when you're at the end of a paragraph and you hit the enter key, it moves, it knows you're telling it my paragraph is done and I'm starting a new paragraph. There's an actual mark in there that you can't see in the document that shows you where those paragraph marks and spaces are. And WordPerfect had that built in. That was the button you accidentally hit. There is, in my Word, there's now a show hide paragraph marks. If I click on this button in my toolbar, this is what a paragraph marker is. Now look at my document. Look, I have a bunch of dots here. That's showing spaces. That's showing me that I put in a bunch of spaces to indent that instead of doing it the right way and telling it to indent the paragraph. Also, see these big characters here? These are showing you that these are paragraph breaks at the end of the document. If I were to print this document out, you wouldn't see those.
And on my old 8 laptop, we had it in there.
Yeah, was it Word?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can tell Microsoft Word to keep this on all the time, but this is how WordPerfect looked. And this is why the attorneys liked WordPerfect, because they could see exactly where the non-printable formatting marks are. They call these formatting marks, spaces, paragraphs, and stuff like that. And I can turn this on and off now in my toolbar. I used to have to go to file options and turn on all my paragraph marks to make that happen. But now they interestingly got an interesting little, but what's nice about this is I can hit this. So if I had a paralegal working for me, right, and I needed to submit this to the courts, I could take that person's document, the paralegal's document, and I could click on this paragraph mark and it would show me right away, ooh, this is wrong. All those little dots are spaces. That's not the correct way to indent. I can delete that, and then I can select the paragraph again, go to my paragraph formatting, and you know what? I want a first line indent here. Hit OK. And now I have this paragraph formatting on, but if you notice, it still doesn't have anything here because there's nothing here. There's no spaces. There's no nothing. Another reason I recommend that you type the whole document and then put in your formatting is because Microsoft Word has something called inherited formatting. That means that if you click your cursor in a spot that's blank, there's nothing there, and you just start typing, it's going to take the formatting that's right before it.
Yeah.
And when you have spaces in weird spots, you can format spaces. You can't see it, but you can format spaces to be weird. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to indent this incorrectly with a bunch of spaces here like this. Right? If I accidentally had these spaces formatted the same way as I have this formatted, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to format these spaces. Okay, so what I did is I formatted these spaces that are here to look like this, but just the spaces. So if I were to click here and start typing, look what it does. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And this will confuse people. They'll think, well, there's nothing here. Why, when I clicked here, did I start typing this? It's because it's what it's called inherited formatting. I'm going to undo to get myself out of this. Because if I click at the end of the word movies up here and start typing, it's going to inherit the formatting from right before it. That's why I can come down here to the scheduled films include, and I can start typing here, and it's not big and blue because it's inheriting the formatting from before it. So if you format as you're typing, you can format blank spots accidentally. And then what happens is you'll click in here and start typing, and the formatting will be all off. You'll be like, wow, where'd that come from? It's because there was a space or a blank spot of the document that had formatting in it that you couldn't see. But if you type everything and then go back and just format what you want, it's going to prevent that from happening a little bit more. This hanging indent here, this hanging indent, and this is not a hanging indent, it's a bunch of spaces, I think. Let me turn on my character. Yeah, so here's my dots. I don't want these to be spaces. I'm going to delete this. You can also, instead of going into the paragraph dialog box to do that, you can also change your indentations right and left and your hanging indent, or your first line indent or a hanging indent directly from the ruler. This can be a little tricky. Does everybody see a ruler at the top here of these numbers? Anybody not see that ruler? You can shut the ruler on and off. You'll notice right at the very top of the page, there's a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and little dots in here. Typewriters used to have those. It's a ruler that a typewriter would have, so you could kind of see where on the 8.5 wide piece of paper you were. This ruler can be turned on and off in the View toolbar. You don't have to do this with me. I'll just show you. If I click on the View toolbar up here, there's a ruler check mark. And if I shut it off, it takes the ruler away. I want it on because I want to show you something with the ruler here. But under the View toolbar, this is where you can turn the ruler on and off. This is tricky and it's hard to do, especially if you're not good with a mouse. There's 2 ways to do your indent. The way that I showed you, opening that dialog box and saying I want a first line indent or a hanging indent. The other way is by moving these. There's 2 little diamonds in your ruler up here. It's kind of hard to see. If you select this entire paragraph by clicking and dragging or triple clicking, click, 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 make sure this is selected, you can change your hanging indent or your first line indent by moving one of these, clicking and dragging to move these diamonds. If I grab the very top diamond and click and drag, see what it does? It's dragging the first line indent. I'm going to put that back and I'm going to change this to a hanging indent. And that hanging indent is the diamond right below it. If you grab that diamond on the bottom and drag it, oh, see what I did? I'm actually grabbing both diamonds. I didn't want to do that. It can be hard to grab just that bottom one. But if you can grab just that bottom one, that's what a hanging indent is. So now I have a top diamond to the left and a bottom diamond over to the right. This is what a hanging indent paragraph looks like. There are specific types of business letters that they prefer a hanging indent like that. I don't remember why, though. Nobody's an English teacher. I already asked that, right? Neither am I. I don't. And actually, AI will know this answer. It's indenting a paragraph, but there's two different types of indentation. There's a hanging indent that looks like this, where everything is indented except for the first line. That's what we call a hanging indent. And then there's a first line indent, which is what I'm more used to, which is where the first line is indented, but the rest of it is not. And I'm going to ask my AI assistant what the difference is. When would you use a hanging indent as opposed to a first line indent?
A first line indent is when the first line of a paragraph is indented, but the rest of the lines in that paragraph stay at the margin. You see this a lot in books and articles. A hanging indent is the opposite. The first line stays at the margin, but every other line is indented. This is commonly used in bibliographies or works cited lists. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. Works cited or bibliographies will use the hanging indent.
Didn't you do this kind of when you were doing what is it, when you interviewing, you're doing what do you call
A resume?
Yeah.
I indent a first line indent when I do a resume. Any kind of professional writing, I do a first line indent like this. But if you're doing a bibliography or a works cited, you do a hanging indent.
I think I remember trying to move the ruler used to mess me up. That's how I always tried to do it.
Yeah. Now, there are times where you want to indent the entire paragraph in, right and left. And there is a little square at the bottom of your ruler on the left and right. So if I can move these, as long as the paragraph is selected, I can move them in like this. You don't have to do this with me. You can if you want, but I just wanted to show you, if you indent the left and the right, that is how, if I was writing a term paper and I took a chunk of text from a book, this is how I would show that. This should show you that this is from a different book or something like that when you do the left and right. Every other paragraph is big, but you have one paragraph in, that's kind of showing you that this is from something else. That's why you would do that. And you could do this from the ruler, but like I said, these little diamonds on the ruler can be hard to grab. And if you're not good with a mouse, it can be difficult. So it might be a little bit easier if you're having trouble with getting used to the mouse to open up this little dialog box in your paragraph formatting and do it that way. Because you can say, I want my left indentation a half an inch and my right indentation a half an inch right here in the indentation page. And it shows you down here in the preview what it looks like. See how it shows you the normal paragraph above it and the left and right left and right indentions below it. When I hit OK, that's what it does. It just moves these little ruler diamonds to show you indentions. And those little ruler diamonds, I think I remember those in the old typewriters. I think you could kind of move those and set those in the old typewriter. So it still gives you the ability to move it like an old typewriter, but you can also do it from the box. And that box, this little box that you open up right here, just might be a little easier. Because what's nice is it shows you the preview before you say okay, right? So if I wanted a hanging indent, I can choose this. And I could go, oh, that's not what I wanted at all. And you notice it doesn't change what's on the page. It's only previewing it. So you want, oh, that's not what I wanted. I didn't want a hanging indent. I wanted a first line indent. You can choose first line. And when the preview looks the way you like it, then you can hit OK. And then you can get your first line indent there.
I got a duh question.
Yeah.
The word processing, all that's incorporated in now, this stuff that we're doing now, remember word processor?
Word processing.
The word processor.
This is a word processor.
Okay.
That's, yeah, this is the type of, right. So, yeah, look, the title of the class is word processing. So it's not really duh. No, that's a good question. That's a good question. Because what is a word processor? It's a computerized version of a typewriter. And the word processor is the type of software it is. We're using Microsoft Word, which is a type of word processor. Google Docs is a different type of word processor. So anytime you got a computerized typewriter, that's what it is, a word processor. They'll sometimes also call it desktop publishing, which is kind of the same thing now. Because your word processor can actually, in the early days, they were two separate things. Word processor was just for text. And desktop publishing allowed you to put in graphics and pictures and stuff. Now they all do the same thing. So they're all kind of both the same thing. A different type of paragraph formatting is bullet points or numbered lists. And if we scroll down our document, I have a list of scheduled films. We can change these into bulleted lists or numbered lists. In a typewriter, what did we do? We hit the number 1, and we hit maybe like the right parentheses, and then we hit a tab. That would get, to give us some space. That was how we made our numbered list on a typewriter. Microsoft Word, you can select the text and just tell it to make it a numbered list, and it'll do it for you automatically. If you try to do it the old-fashioned way by typing 1 dot or 1 parentheses and a space, it's going to change it to the formatted way. And you can try to fight Microsoft Word and do it the old way. You will lose. You will lose that fight. There's no way around it. It wants you to do it its way. But the nice thing about that is it's going to be more consistent, right? So in the old days, we'd have to hit 1 parentheses and a couple of spaces. Well, now we can select all of our numbered list or bulleted list, and we can change the formatting universally. So let's do that by selecting all 5 of these movies. So we're going to click at the very beginning of the word July. For July 7th is the Blues Brothers. We're going to click and drag down all the way to the end of our last movie, which is August 4th, Disney's Pixar's Coco. And once you have all of those selected, in our paragraph toolbar, we have 2 buttons. We have a numbered list and we have a bulleted list. Let's do the bullets first. We're going to click on this little button that just says bullets. And it changes the whole list to a bulleted list. Bullet points. While it's still selected, look up at our ruler. If you notice up in the ruler, it kind of has these in, oh, my battery's going low. It's 2:30. Let's take a 5-minute break. Get yourself some refreshments. I'm going to get myself a power cord. And I will be right back.
Yeah, my neighbor. They have
They know. Take one spot.
I guess.
That's what I can't.
Big stuff, so I don't have two things. Wow. You look at your page. I can do
Mike, I haven't built this dumb since I was in high school. They put me in the wrong racket.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like I said. I think I
High school.
so everybody is like, find that.
Yeah, I do. I was little, but I could recognize the name, yeah.
They know that you know somebody. Yeah. So that you know, right? Yes.
And I don't want to tell her about it.
Yeah.
And I went on the net and went back to school. And when I got there, I really was all the average math test for me was going before I had to go to the advanced math test. And I was the biggest dummy. I haven't been out there for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
That's
That's
what I
frustrating.
felt in here.
I've had math classes that same way. So, yeah, I did not like math. I went to school for finance and all things, but- and it was weird. Once I got into college and started taking some advanced math, it started making more sense than the earlier. I think they didn't tell you why in the earlier math. You're doing it, and it didn't make sense. But then in the more advanced math, you kind of, oh, I understand why we're doing it now. It made more sense. But yeah, I had, geometry,
They have a hard time with that. So.
not good.
This what this class felt like today with this computer.
You can take, we do these classes twice a year and we repeat them, and some people take them more than once. And if you want more help, come into the help desk. We can do a one-on-one, get you up to speed. The best way to learn this is to have a reason to sit down and type letters and do stuff. Because then you're going to be challenged to really sit down and think about it and go, okay, well, I got to get this done. I got to get this resume done. I got to get this letter done or whatever. And then that's when it'll start sinking in better. But hopefully some of the stuff you'll kind of remember, oh yeah, you know.
But this was the hardest class. The other stuff I kind of caught on to a little bit.
Well, we're going to kick it up a notch for spreadsheets next week. Yeah.
Did you think statistics is it or is it that's math?
I took statistics. It was math. It was very difficult. But I have to say that was one of my favorite college classes was statistics. I never bought another lottery ticket after I took that class ever again. Trying to get rich by playing the lottery is like trying to commit suicide by flying commercial. Just terrible. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Statistics really taught me how much my own brain was lying to me. Really, how much things seemed like they should be, and it's like, no, no, no. Yeah, our minds just can't wrap ourselves around that.
And just imagine, people who have, well, yeah, the 1%, whatever you want to call it. They can buy how many lottery, I mean, they must have a way where if you have so much money, it just goes through the machine and you buy so many tickets. I know.
They're not playing the lottery.
Okay, don't think they're playing it all?
No, 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 no. They're not playing the lottery. They're buying things with money that isn't theirs.
Well,
That's how they make the
no
money.
question about that.
Once you get a house, and you have money, you don't have to sell the house to buy something else. You can just say, I want to borrow money to buy something else against that. And that's just pretend money. That don't even get taxed on. So once you get a little bit, then it's pretty easy to get more. But the hard part is that little bit. So yeah. And then they take all their money and they just buy the politicians to make it easy for them to make more.
Or the courts.
Oh, on the courts. Yeah. Yeah. Terrible. Okay. So here we are back to bullet points before I go off on rich people buying politicians.
That's so hard to buy for people.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a real tricky. Okay, so the bullet points are nice. Now, if you look up at our ruler, you're going to notice that if you have this selected, if you still have these bullet points selected and you look up at your ruler, the space between the bullet points and the text is those diamonds in the ruler, just like it was with indentation. So you could later on change the spacing if you wanted to, but also you don't even need to keep these bullet points. The button that we hit to turn the bullet points on and off, there's a little drop down arrow there. We can change that. If you click on the little arrow, it'll say, okay, well, you want like check marks instead, or you want little O's, or you want squares. You can change these bullet points this way. And you can even, I'm not going to do this, but you can go down here to define new bullet, and you can have anything be a bullet point. A picture of a slice of pizza or an arrow or anything. But so these bullet points here gives you the option. Alternatively, what we can do is we can number these. So if these are selected and you have these bullet points, you can change this from a bulleted list up on our toolbar. Right to the right of it, you have what's called a numbered list. And when you click on that, see what it does? It changes it to numbers. One of the reasons you want to let Microsoft Word do this for you is because watch what happens. If I forgot that there was supposed to be a movie in between Raiders of the Lost Ark and Empire Strikes Back, see, this is numbered 1 through 5. Well, I can take my cursor and go to the end of number 2. Hit the enter key to give me another one. Ooh, what did I do? I don't even know what I did there. Hit the enter key. Oh, number it. Let me get this selected the right way and do it right. So if I click at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark and hit the enter key, see what it did? It gave me a new number 3, and it changed it to a 6-numbered list automatically. That's really handy because you might have a list of 50 things and go, oh, I missed something in there. If you typed them in manually, you'd have to change all those numbers, right? If you put something between 10 and 11, well, then now you got 2 11s and everything's wrong. Well, if you let Microsoft do the numbers for you, you can add something in the middle and it'll adjust the future numbers for you, which is pretty nice. But also, have you ever worked in like an outline, right? Where you might have different levels, outline levels. Say I wanted to put 2 stars in the movie underneath Raiders of the Lost Ark. When I hit the enter key to give me a number 3, if I hit the tab key here, watch what it does. See, it gives me a little bullet point like that. That's what we call a list level. And the list level works with a numbered list and the list level works with the bulleted list. You might recognize this from an outline form. So I could put in here like Raiders of the Lost Ark, starred Harrison Ford. And when I hit the enter key, watch what happens. It doesn't give me another number. It gives me another dot because I'm in a multi-leveled list. Harrison Ford and what was Marion Ravenwood's actress name?
His father.
That was Sean Connery. That was a different movie. What was the actress that played Marion Ravenwood in Raiders of the Lost Ark?
That's the first.
That was Karen Allen. She also played her character again in the most recent Indiana Jones movie. Did you see that one?
Okay, thank you. Off you go. All right, so in the movie Star Wars, the gold robot C-3PO kept talking, and that everybody would just tell him to shut up. I understand that now. As my AI keeps, I'm like, shut up, I'm done with you. So we can put multi-lists in here. If I wanted another list, I could hit enter after Karen Allen, hit the tab key again, and see it gives me another level, like a square like this. So this is how you would do an outline or any kind of multi-leveled list, whether it's a bullet or numbers. And you could go back and format this later if you needed to. If you didn't like that this list looked this way, you could select it and you could change it. You could go up here to this multi-level list and you could say, you know what, I would rather have it look like this. Remember, this is kind of what the old typewriters would do with the right parentheses, and the A, B, C was second level, and then the I, and then I think it was an I and a double I. Is that it? So if I hit tab, there you go. 1 and then hit 2. Yeah, 2 I's would be 2. This is a different type of numbered multi-level list. So I understand how you want to type in your own things, but you will lose that fight. Let Microsoft do it and just understand that you can change this anytime you want. So I can make it look like this if I want to. And I can also change the spacing between it simply by going up to my ruler. And if you get stuck, just keep hitting the undo and it'll take you back to the beginning.
The ruler or the spacing in the paragraph.
For what? For the multi-level list? You could do either. You could do either. Now I have 2 paragraphs at the bottom here. You don't have to do this with me but I want to show you. If you click and drag to select both paragraphs at the same time, when you indent, it'll indent for both paragraphs at the same time. That is one way to keep things nice and consistent on your page. Okay, so we did some text formatting. We did some paragraph formatting. I want to show you how you can insert a picture or a graphic like desktop publishing into a document. It's going to require changing our toolbar to a different toolbar. We've been working pretty much on our home toolbar all this time. There's a toolbar up at the top called an insert toolbar. It's just to the right of home. Click on insert here. And let's take a look at some of the stuff we can insert into our document. Yeah, so a cover page or a blank page is an option. If you're writing a book, Oftentimes you have a cover page and then you have a couple of blank pages. You also have something called a page break. Okay, if you notice these pages kind of flow, you might want a page break after just the first paragraph. So you put a page break in there, and what happens is you get to the page break, it goes to page 2. It doesn't even fill in anything in the second what's left on that page. You can put a table in here with columns and rows. You can insert a table. So if you're typing a document in and you need something that's in a grid form, you can insert a table into the document. You don't have to do this with me. I'll show you what it looks like. If I just put down here, I want to insert a table, it'll ask me, okay, well, how many columns and rows do you want? You build a table like this and see what it does. It puts a little table into your document. You know, so there might be times you need a little grid table to put like something in like that. I hit Control Z to undo that. What we're going to do is we're going to insert a picture. You know what? Look at this. We have shapes too. Look at all these different shapes you can draw into your document. Circles and squares and lines and squiggles and rectangles and basic shapes and arrows and flow charts and stars and banners. There's a bunch of shapes you could put in here, but what we're going to do is we're going to insert a picture. But the first thing we need to do is we need to put our cursor in the document where we want the picture to show up. And I want that picture to be in the paragraph, in this first paragraph. So scroll up to the top, the very first paragraph, the East Chicago Public Library, we're hosted summer movie. I want you to click your cursor at the very beginning of this paragraph here, right at the very beginning of the word the. So you should see the cursor blinking at the word the. And let's go up to the insert toolbar under pictures. And it says, okay, do you want stock images, online images, or pictures from this device? We're going to use pictures from this device. And what it's going to do is it should automatically open up a little box showing you what's in your pictures folder. Mine did not. Mine came up with a documents folder. That's okay. On the left-hand side, I'm going to change this to pictures. And see, we have a little picture of the Blues Brothers here. Everybody see that? Click one time on the Blues Brothers picture, and then choose Insert. It's really big, isn't it? I want to Insert Picture. Picture from this device. From this device, and then I chose the Blues Brothers picture, and then I clicked on Insert.
Okay.
It's bigger than the page.
Yeah.
But you should see on the right-hand side up here, see these little dots? These little dots allow you to shrink the picture down. So if you put your mouse over one of these little dots, that in the mouse pointer changes these double arrows, you can click and drag to make the picture smaller. See that? Bigger or smaller?
Because it covered my,
Yeah, it'll cover the whole page.
what videos were supposed to be shown for the day.
Yeah. Anytime you insert a picture or a shape or anything like that, you're going to see this little box over here to the right. See that? That's called layout options. And if you click on it, it gives you how that picture is going to align with the text you have in your document. Right now, it's in line with text. So this little picture shows you that text will be above it, and then the picture, and then text will be below it. But you don't have to do that. See this text with wrapping here? We could choose this square. And what that would do is that would put the picture kind of like in the paragraph. Let's do that. We're going to change our layout options here to square and see what it does. It actually, if we click and drag the picture around, see what it does? it puts the text around the picture. Matter of fact, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller yet. I'm going to make this a pretty small image. I'm always clicking on the corners, if you notice, to change the size of the picture. And I'll show you why. If you grab the edge of the right or left and change the size of it, it warps the picture. Squeezes it this way. I'm going to hit Control Z to undo that. If I did the same thing with the top and bottom in the middle, it would squash it this way. And I don't want to distort the picture. So I want to consistently grab it at the corner to make it smaller or bigger. See, that looks pretty good. I have an indentation for the paragraph here, and I'm not splitting up the words to be left and right of the picture. That's distracting. I could move it to the far right, I guess. I do too. Yeah, like that. Maybe even a little higher. But there are ways to massage this picture to show up. So you can also, there's other layout options. You can say, I want this picture to be in front of text or behind text. That would be distracting. If I chose behind text, see what it looks like? I can't even see it anymore. The text it's behind the text. I'm going to hit undo. If I had it in front of text, well then, see what it does? It just blocks the text. This is what setting it to in front of text looks like. But what I would really like to do is I want to keep this square or tight. What tight does. Tight just makes it a little bit closer.
Say my memory. How do I?
So clicking and dragging in the middle of the photo moves the photo around, right? Allow you to move it around your document. Clicking and dragging the corners makes the picture bigger and smaller. See this little circle up at the top? That will allow you to spin the photo. You can click on that. Now, there's no really good reason to do that here. But see what I can do? I can spin the photo crooked if I wanted to. Now, there may be times you're not inserting a picture, you're inserting an arrow or something else, and that might be a good reason to come up here and spin that. Inserting a picture, these options for inserting a picture is going to be the same if you inserted a shape, or if you inserted a table, or if you inserted a graphic of any kind, clip art. It all has these same dots to make the picture bigger and smaller. And it has the same formatting options to the right here to show how it's going to work with your text. The other thing here is, see where it says move with text or a fixed position on the page? Let me show you the difference to that. So if I click on fixed position on page here, if I added more text, it keeps the picture where it's at and it moves the text around it. But if I click on this picture and say, you know what, go ahead and move the picture with the text. Now when I go up here and click enter, see what it does? It keeps the picture with the text as it goes. And it kind of depends on what you're inserting and how you want it to be. But that's what move with text and fixed position on page will be. Okay, so this was a lot today, but we got through a lot of different text formatting, a lot of different paragraph formatting. This is going to be, and it's even more with Excel and spreadsheets next week. This is one of those things that it's not really going to sink in until you start really doing it on a regular basis. Okay. But this gives you an idea of what can be done. When you sit down to do it, you'll go, well, I've seen this before. I know it can be done. You might not remember how to do it, but at least you'll remember, okay, well, I know I can indent. I know I can add bullets and numbers. I know I can insert pictures and make it tight against the picture if I need to. And that's what Help Desk is for. You know, if we go a couple of months and you never touch this program again, but you got to write a resume, come into Help Desk, and then we can get you started, and you'll start remembering. Start remembering that.
I never used those. I never used those.
What, the toolbar?
The toolbar. You just need to play with it.
A lot of it is play. And really, if you think about it, that's how a lot of us learned growing up. We play. That's how we learn things. We play around. Don't be afraid to explore and
When you
experiment.
crash computer, we come here.
That's right. Do your worst.
No, a lot of things they just play with. That's because they couldn't tell you the exact way to do it, but you played around with it. That's the easy way.
Yeah, so I got a digital watch.
You got an Apple?
No, I got a Google Watch that matches the Google phone. I got a good discount on it. I didn't really want it, but I'm a computer guy. I kind of have to know how they work and stuff like that. This is a large one. This one comes in 2 sizes. But it has some very interesting features on it. It has a lot of biometric features. It tells me my pulse. It tells me how well I sleep at night, how long I was in a deep sleep, how long I was in a REM sleep. It can tell my temperature. It does a lot, and I kind of like that. My mother, who's 79 and quite active and healthy and lives alone, she saw it. She's like, oh, I think I want to get one of those. And that's good because it can tell if you fall, and you can tell it to send messages to your text message emergency contacts if you fall, have a car accident, or it'll even dial 911 if it notices that your heart stopped, which is pretty amazing. Or it can contact your contacts. I did not set that up. The last thing I want is my mom to get a phone call from a Google robot saying, hello, is this Marcia? This is an automated recording telling you that your son's heart has stopped. Yeah, that's a bad idea, right? But anyway, so I thought, but for her, I thought that's great. She lives alone. She might, so she got it and she's like, well, what do I do with it? I'm like, well, play with it. She's like, well, but I don't know how it works. I'm like, I don't either. I just got it, but I'm playing with it. So I just play with it, see what it does, play with it.
I just do the same thing with the one that I got. And I never thought I'd be talking to a watch on my phone and receiving calls, stuff like that.
I
on
know.
my watch.
It's like Get Smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Get Smart. I remember the first call I got, my watch buzzes and I look and it's my mom. I'm like, oh, and I answer it. I'm like, I'm talking to you on a watch. How do I sound? She's like, oh, you sound normal. That's incredible. Talking on my watch.
I technology is something, like you say, moving so fast.
Yeah.
And
But what is different between iPhone and that watch?
So
And what you do, what my iPhone cannot.
think of it as an extension of your phone. So it's not its own device. It's just getting information from your phone. So when you get the watch, now I have the Google version, but the Apple's is very much the same way. It tells you when you buy it, it says put it next to your phone, so I can control the camera. So I can put this camera far away and I can take the picture from my watch, for example. When my phone gets a notification, it'll come up on my watch. So I don't have to look for my phone. I can just look at the watch.
You still need to use the phone in order to take the camera, to take the picture to shot, right?
Right. So it's not its own device. It's an extension of your phone So far I like it. If I didn't get all the discounts, I got a discount from my insurance company. It was Black Friday discount. It was a $350 watch. That's pretty expensive. I don't know if it quite justifies that kind of expense, but
The things and stuff that it does.
Does,
that
it's worth
you can say,
$300.
yeah, you know. because-
yeah, maybe. I'm not there yet. I do like it, but I'm not there.
That justifies the
Yeah.
stuff that it can do.
You know, as a,
My aunt had what is that, people or whatever to call it, she had a fall or got, well, she happened to
right.
had an aneurysm and she fell and no one was around. Was she able to use that pacemaker before? No.
That's why my mother got it, because her friend fell off of a step stool and broke her hip. And her husband was out of town for the weekend, and she knew that. And my mom asked her, she's like, how did you get help? You were stuck on the kitchen floor. She's like, oh, I called 911 from my watch. And she's like, oh,
Now the value is.
that's exactly. That's why I said, for me, it's cool, but for my mom to have those safety features is kind of nice.
That's not bad comparison to what they're buying the iPhone at now.
That's true.
$500-700, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what is the iPhone doing? Like, what is, oh, it has a lot of features. If you do this, if you use it, yeah.
If you use it that way.
Yeah.
right, Yeah.
The majority of the time, you guys aren't using it. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, so you pay $500-700. I'm not gonna expect, that's just what
It is.
that, yeah, the value of that's not.
So tell me
But that
why that,
watch it
excuse
would
me,
be.
remember that thing that you press? You have.
That's what she was talking about. It's like a, It does work.
It didn't work. She didn't get a chance to press it. She didn't know that she was gonna have an ad.
oh, she had an aneurysm. She was out of her head. Yeah, like if you have a stroke, it's probably the same way. Some stroke victims don't realize they're having a stroke because they're
Right.
confused. That makes sense. Yeah. I guess if you don't know, you don't know. But see, this will detect a fall. It'll detect a car accident, and it'll detect if your pulse stops.
Well, when she was having the aneurysm, she was alert.
Yeah.
And her son said good morning to her or something. And he said, when I came up back, and he said, I could just see her there. He's sobbing. She's sobbing. She had blank face and she's just sobbing. He goes, I said, are you okay? He goes, do you want me to call 9? He said she couldn't do anything, but she would not. She was trying to write the number 911 on her stomach for him to call 911.
Oh, wow.
She had the thing, but I guess she didn't think that, you know. But see, that's what I'm saying. That watch
Yeah.
would have, called her contact.
Yeah.
Because she couldn't move, she couldn't move. So that-
Yeah,
she couldn't move
yeah.
that button
Right.
On that little unit monitor.
Unless he knew she was okay. He said he went to the bathroom, he came back up. She wasn't,
Right.
And it's time up, it's up.
That is true. Okay, and time is up, so we're gonna go. Does anybody have any questions before we go? Okay. Yes, sir.
Will any kind of a mouse work on any kind of computer?
They all plug in with USB. Okay, so if you get a wireless mouse, there's 2 different types of wireless mice. If you don't want a wire on it, then you have to look, because some of the wireless mice just have a little Bluetooth receiver, like it plugs into the USB just like a normal. That'll work on any computer. Some of these wireless mice nowadays are Bluetooth, which means that you have to have a laptop or computer that has Bluetooth with it too for it to work. So if you look at a Bluetooth mouse, you got to make sure your computer has Bluetooth. That's the only other thing. Other than that, they'll all work on anything. No, most desktops don't. A lot of laptops do, but not even all laptops do. If you know what you can do, see down here in the bottom right-hand corner, you see all these little icons down here? If one of them shows that little Bluetooth right here, so that little blue and the X and the B, that's showing you that Bluetooth is on the device.
now, can you download that?
No, Bluetooth is a physical chip that's built into the computer. It's a physical wireless communication chip that can match the physical chip in your device. So,
That's why I got 2.
so the answer is yes, except for the Bluetooth. You got to make sure you got Bluetooth on.
Yeah, I have a Chromebook computer, but it does have the Bluetooth.
Vibra. Yeah, so then a Bluetooth mouse will work. And those are nice because the modern ones, they got rechargeable batteries.
Yeah.
So you can plug it into the USB to charge up the battery instead of messing with the double A's all the time. They're a little bit more expensive, but they're nicer. All right, you guys have a great weekend. Everybody want to call about the spreadsheet class next week?
A reminder.
Okay. Same time, we just got 2 more classes left, beginning and advanced spreadsheets. And then it's Christmas. End of January, we're gonna do misinformation and media literacy, and then we're gonna take a few weeks off while I go out of town, and then we're gonna do a 4-week. But I'll have all that information for you next week. Or by the time we're done here. If not next week, the week after. You too. Thank you for coming. All right, have a good weekend. And I'm gonna stop the recording.
Well,